morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of Clarinets, Cats, and Coffee. In today's video, I am going to give you an excerpt of a Cavallini caprice that focuses on chromaticism, and I will walk you through just a few of my personal rules for playing chromatic scale passages and show you a few fingering tricks as well. Before I do that, I want to say, one, thank you to all of my patrons who are supporting my channel. You guys keep me motivated and excited, and I just love you, so thank you so much. Two, my Facebook group. You guys have been great this summer. I've had a few regular people post the weekly excerpt every week, and it's been really great to hear you guys play. And we've gotten some new people join recently and start posting recently as well. So don't be afraid. It doesn't matter what level you're at. I want to hear you play. I want to hear what you're up to. So even if it's just a couple of measures that you really worked hard on for a couple of days, hit record and share it on the Facebook group, okay? So I can't wait to hear more of you guys playing and practicing and getting involved. All right, so this particular excerpt is a little bit tricky, right? It's a good test to know how well we really know our chromatic fingerings and our chromatic scale. And a lot of times we just kind of start our chromatic scale from low E and we work our way all the way up to the highest note we know and right back down. And I don't know about you guys, but for a long time I just kind of thought about that chromatic scale in terms of groups of four, really, like 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a teacher told me that I should practice in 4s, in 2s, in 3s, and then I started the Albert scale method, which every week you start the chromatic scale on a different note, and so it changes kind of the way that you think about the chromatic scale. So I would encourage you guys to try doing that. Try starting on different notes. Try thinking of your chromatic scale in different groups of notes, maybe triplets, sextuplets, quintuplets, all kinds of different subdivisions, just to kind of exercise the brain and not get totally stuck in one way of thinking. Now, this particular caprice here is a great example of starting the chromatic scale on different notes, and you just play little snippets of the chromatic scale. So don't be afraid to start this slow if you are a little bit uncomfortable with starting these descending passages on whatever notes they start on, right? Practice it slowly. And the other thing that I want to encourage you guys to do is just keep a few of these fingering tricks in mind whenever you're working on this. So the first fingering trick I want you guys to just do forever is to get out of the habit of sliding pinkies. So I know many of you have been very well trained and know that you have to alternate your pinkies, especially if you're playing on a French system clarinet. This is why we have all these extra keys, these pinky keys, and we have alternate fingerings for all these pinky keys, right? So we don't have to slide from one note to the next, okay? So in the very first measure here, we have G, F sharp, F natural, and E, and it really doesn't matter to me which pinkies you do which note with, as long as you don't do two notes in a row with the same pinky. For this particular passage, I actually do G like this, F sharp with my right hand pinky, F natural with the left, and low E with the right. And my decision to do that actually is based on the fact that the first note of the next measure is a C, and it's a lot easier to go clean from this low E to C, because you're doing all of the action in one hand, than it is to go from left low E to C, right? Because you have to coordinate both a pinky and your fingers. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which pinky pattern you do, as long as you coordinate everything so you're not sliding your pinkies and that you can go from E to C very cleanly. Now the next fingering rule I want you guys to try to apply is using the alternate fingering for the throat tone F sharp. So if you go to the first full measure in beat 3, the and the of beat 3, you have F sharp followed by an F natural. Now, these two notes should be something you visually recognize. If you see those two notes side by side, or like a G flat next to an F natural, that should be a cue to you to use the alternate fingering for F sharp, right? So if you don't know the fingering, it is thumb plus, let's see if I can balance this, plus the bottom two side keys. Now, if you think about it, thumb is F natural, and then you add these two side keys, that's F sharp. It makes it really easy to go super smooth. And you can test this out, by, see how clean you control from F to F sharp versus F to F sharp like that, right? And you can't really do it that clean. So I also personally just kind of like the sound of this one a little better than the front finger F sharp. So you get the added bonus of slightly better tone quality on that. Now there is the matter of E flat. I personally always use this side key fingering for E flat. Now, many of you will say, oh, but I was taught the chromatic fingering for E flat, which is this, and good job. If you want to do that fingering for E flat, you go right ahead. I personally don't like the sound of this finger E flat, and I can play pretty cleanly using this E flat, so I almost never use this guy right here. But again, go ahead and try it. This is a chromatic passage, and this is one of the very few opportunities you have to actually use this key. Okay, so if you skip ahead to 5, the anda of beat 3 and 5, you also have the opportunity to use the alternate fingering for F sharp in the high range, which is the superior sounding fingering of both of the F sharps, okay? So most of us know it as this, right? And this is the one that we're taught, and that is very easy to remember. However, the better fingering in this case, and well, pretty much anytime you have the opportunity, is this one. So it's like you play an F and you add the little banana key right here. And if you're a really good little clarinet player, you're gonna hit the key a little bit closer to the post here instead of over the tone holes, right? Because if you press it over the tone holes, you run the risk of covering these a little bit and making the note sound a little flat. So if you push it close to the post, you'll have better luck with actually making that note sound good. Now, that being said, my finger is pretty narrow, so I don't worry too much about it, but those of you who do have wider fingers, that is really something that you might want to keep in mind there. So I personally like the sound of that one a lot better than the other one. This sounds bright and gross to me. This sounds nice and pretty. Not sure if you'll be able to actually tell on the recording. So to me, this one just sounds more rounded, and if I were to play this chromatic passage, it would match the tone of all of the other notes surrounding it, whereas this one would stick out. You also have the added benefit of a very smooth transition going from F to F sharp. And then my final thought for this is just keep in mind, we typically don't play our chromatic scale descending, right? We start low and we go high and then we come back down. So this is a really great caprice to actually practice descending chromaticism. And the big thing that I want you to keep in mind while you're doing this is to make sure you keep your air whooshing forward and you don't drop your jaw or your tongue or open up as the notes get lower, because you want your tone to match between all of the registers. So keep the wind, keep everything in place. Don't drop your jaw or your tongue, and the sound will match and sound beautiful from high to low. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and play this for you. I hope you will consider playing along with me, and if you're practicing this week, be sure to hit record and share it on Facebook. All right, here we go. Alright guys, that was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed playing along with me, and like I said before, if you are enjoying this, be sure to hit record and share it out on Facebook. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a good rest of your week, and as always, happy practicing.